And then now I will start sharing my screen. Now for we're going to be going over the form the suggestions that are on the form for the current voting session for this year. I've decided to do this to try to help get more people to vote, because I mean, a surprisingly low number of people actually vote. We've only got about 143 votes right now. So when voting will be closing in about 4 weeks. So, but I know it can be sometimes tough to get, an entire suggestion down to just a one-liner. So basically I'm going to go through them and just explain briefly what these suggestions all entail. So likewise, there is a link to the forum. If you've already filled out one, you should have gotten an email similar to this, and if need be, you can edit your responses. So I'm going to start, they're broken down into categories, so we'll just start at the top here for backup. First one, option to compact file when backup is complete, instead of clicking OK. To me, that's kind of obvious, basically have it after you do a backup, to compact the file then. So the second one, first I should say, if you do want to read up on more of these, because in here is a link to the online spreadsheet. It looks like this. And if you search for this this reference number, like this one, 180409, if you search down here, okay, well, here it is. Well, you'll see here there's a link to a Facebook thing. You click on it, and this will take you to the discussion on it. Now, you do have to be a member of the Suggested Innovations group to read this. But here you can kind of read all about the details about it. So this had, default backup option. You can specify when you go to backup, to go to a custom directory, but then, you always have to specify the drive, so if you want it to go here, you can. But then each time you come back to it, then you'd have to respecify that directory. Next one, have full backup media that was linked and not stored in the media directory. Because by default, if you just say always link your media, say you want them in subcategories, subfolders stored on a certain location on your drive, and not have it copy into the tree's media directory, that media is not backed up when you do a backup. When you do a backup, all that's backed up is your tree file, and then so like this Danielle, this tree file, and then its corresponding media directory. That's all that's backed up. If you have media that's stored elsewhere in a pictures directory, wherever, that media is not backed up. So a unique file name for every backup, because if you've ever done more than one backup in a day, if you do a second backup, it's going to ask to overwrite. In general backup practices, you should never overwrite your last backup, just in case something would happen, like you'd lose power mid backup. So like right now, I just add on A, B, C. Some people put in the time. But basically just have it come up with the unique name, so you never have to worry about overwriting. Have a method to directly transfer updated to another computer. So this isn't so much like syncing with Ancestry, but if you've got two computers, say a desktop and a laptop, you could have it have some, there basically has to have some method to transfer any changes to the other computer, you know. And then this one have a drop-down list of frequent backup locations. That's kind of sort of like this other one up here, but basically some people may automatically back up to 2 or more locations, and you know, so you could have a backup location A, B, C, you know. Likewise, if you have any questions, just feel free to unmute and ask, or go into chat and ask. On color coding, well, more colors, that's kind of obvious. You've only got eight to work with. So there are tricks you can get around it, but ultimately you can only have eight unique colors. Have color codes on the person tabs. Let me, because like if you go here, the color coding does not come over onto here. Let me just assign a color here to this person. You know, but now see if we go to the person tab, see there is no color here. So be able to assign DNA color coding, XY chromosome. So if you've done any DNA testing, you'll probably understand what that is. The X and Y chromosome inheritance pattern. If you don't do DNA, well, that's probably something you're not going to utilize anyway. Now on the display, ability to customize the startup screen. Well, you can kind of see behind me is the startup screen, the standard startup screen. Some people want to be able to put in their own pictures or have their own startup screen. Next one, have a visible indicator of actual relationship type rather than always being a spouse. This can happen, you know, when cousins marry, even though both the husband and wife are both your cousin, whichever one is closer, you know, it's going to say, well, the other one's going to be the husband or the wife of your third cousin. So it's basically a way of basically always showing the bloodline relationship. Ability to increase the number of generations, because when you're on the tree view, goes 4, you can maybe expand out so you can go up to 5 generations here, and it doesn't matter even if you've got a 4K display on a 40-inch TV or a 70-inch TV, you still aren't going to be able to see more than 5 generations. So ability to use custom themes, because right now this is the Windows version. On options, you've got basically 3 different color themes you can use, and I mean that's about it, you know. So it's so basically allow more themes, the different color schemes. And this is kind of along the same lines, options for visually impaired, colorblind, you know, maybe have more contrast in colors. Ability to have the name index on its own tab. This is basically so you can have this wherever you want it, this name index, and you're going to see something along the lines and several suggestions for this. In people view, the ability to use back arrow to go to the previous spot. So if you're working on here, go to this person and then be able to just kind of hit back to go to the previous person you were working on. Display path of the current file. This one, it's like, you know, you can see the various trees you're working. Well, you know, they'd basically like to see, okay, where is it physically located? They're typically in your default path here, but it doesn't have to be. You know, you can open them up and then they'll remember where they were. So ability to select preferred relationship when multiple relationships exist. This is kind of similar to the other one, because like I said, when your cousins marry, you're going to be related to some people in multiple ways, and just be able to have it, be able to specify which relationship you want it to show in here. You know, so when you're doing, well, this is just a small test tree, so I don't have a big thing here, you know, so, but you can set the relationship where there are multiples. And then likewise, to have a visual cue when there are multiple relationships, you are related in multiple ways, and to have a drop-down visual of such multiple relationships. So these are slightly different, but they're along the same threads. Have all tabs, panels dockable. This is along this line, but basically it allows you to rearrange whatever you want, wherever you want. So I mean, you could have the index panel over here on the right, this custom view of the facts over on the left, or if you got multiple monitors, you could spread them between the two monitors. You know, you could have the person tab going on one, you could have the places tab open elsewhere, you know, all at the same time. So that's what this one means. Ability to show and identify double cousins and three-quarter siblings. That's kind of more in the relationships. If you don't know what a double cousin is well, it's like my grandma has got 3 sisters that married 3 brothers. So their kids, along with being first cousins, they're considered double cousins because they're related, they're first cousins on both their mother's and father's side. And a three-quarter sibling is when, say a couple have a child, one of them dies, say the wife dies, the husband marries his wife's sister, and then they have a kid. Those kids are considered three-quarter siblings. They're more than half siblings. So this be able to set a preferred child. This is when you got let me create a child here and let me set that as the home person. Normally this yellow arrow always goes to the home person. They basically want it so you can specify, well, whenever I'm on Mary Moose, I always want to go to Ansel. I don't know exactly how that would be implemented, but that's what that relationship meant. Be able to display date format. I mean, right now it's limited date format. Basically, it's day, month, year, or month, day, year, and some would like it, well, year, month, day. Have a dark mode option. If you've used a tablet or cell phone, you're probably familiar with the dark mode, or even Facebook page, you've got the dark mode option now, where it's a black background. And then be able to hide, resize, move stuff on the plan tab, because right now it's like everything is very static. You can't move anything. Oops, I don't know what I clicked there. Oh, into the count settings. I mean, you can turn off some of the stuff, but you can't really, it won't really free up anything. You can turn off all of this stuff, you know, and it doesn't really give you any more space for anything. So basically be able to rearrange stuff on this side. Oh, and then be able to display multiple parents on screens, charts, and reports. Because right now, what the only report where it can show multiple sets of parents is the parentage report. So if you've got like an adopted and biological parents to be able to somehow be able to see them both and to notify. Now in category DNA, basically have information from ancestry and the DNA information to sync. Same thing with 23andMe. And on the plan tab, someone to see who you've got DNA kits attached to the people in the tree. I guess this would all depend upon ancestry. Would have to make that available, but the ability to use keyboard shortcuts now in editing. Now, there are some keyboard shortcuts you can always do. This one kind of boils down to basically having, you can create your own keyboard shortcuts. So, ability to drag and drop individuals between trees. You can't have more than one tree open at a time, but it'd be nice to say if you're working, say maybe on a test tree, whoops, and say, oh yeah, this Mary is the same one. You could like literally pick her up and drag her over to the other one. I mean, right now you'd have to export the person and then import them into the other tree. And I think this is a carryover from people that came over from like Roots Magic, because that you can drag and drop people between trees. Option to do mass updates in table format is like if you ever go to edit manage facts, and there's something that here residents I've got a lot. You can see all the residence facts, but you know, you can't edit any of this information. Because like here, you know, me, it's like, oh, I hate, my personal preference, I hate having the age there. You know, it's like, because if you run a timeline report, it's going to say what the age is anyway. So it's like, to me, it's just redundant information. But you know, here I'd have to, okay, write down, okay, Aaron Martin, I'd have to go to him, go to the fact and do it, you know. So basically they'd want to basically be able to bulk edit stuff here. So option to have a third tab for a person for medical facts. They're talking about, there is a medical condition fact type. Basically they want that as like a tab here, you know, kind of similar to like the notes, you know, basically have another tab so you can just start itemizing medical conditions. Where was I? Oh, okay, ability to delete media and citations when deleting an individual. Because right now we can delete a person. I could delete this Moses, but this media will remain, and any citations for him will remain. So they'll kind of be in the tree as unlinked. And now that doesn't really hurt anything, but if you want a nice tidy tree, you know, they are still in there. And the media would still be in your media directory and likewise taking up space when you do a backup. Ability to link to OneNote, media files, articles, that's kind of self-evident. I don't use OneNote personally, but you know, basically I have a link right to it. So I could open up the OneNote and show it. Ability to ignore errors so they don't show up as future errors. This is on the data errors report. Because there's certain errors, let's see, that's person data errors report. And you can select certain things here, you know, like obviously there's some, you know, where, you know, born, you know, after the mother or father died, you know, and stuff. Well, I do have a case of where a child was born after the father did die. The father died 5 days before he was born. I mean, obviously he's still the father, but that will always show up as an error, so as a way to say, mark, okay, this is not really an error, so, and that's also a carryover from, I believe, Roots Magic, because you could have a way to mark that so it doesn't keep coming up. Be able to reset clear fast fields. A fast field is when you start typing in like a location or a description. Well, this is small t, I don't have much. But if you just start typing in something here, it takes from the place name authority plus people in your tree. So it is a way of resetting that. That I don't know how they could implement, because it takes the information from your tree. The ability to purge all unused items, media, citations, places. Right now, currently, the only way to do it would be to export your tree, because by default, it will only bring over the things attached to people and then restore it. Unfortunately, if your tree is synced with Ancestry, you're going to have to re-upload the tree to Ancestry. But then if you got a bunch of cousins invited to it, they're going to all have to get re-invited. And so it's not always, so it's kind of like a way of doing an export, but keeping the Ancestry information. So have relationship status automatically change on death or divorce. The relationship status, that's when you go to person and then relationships. And so here it says spouse ongoing. Well, they're saying, well, if they died, have this relationship change automatically to deceased, or if there's a divorce fact, actually have it change to divorced. But right now, there's only about 2 or 3 reports that even look at that status. But that's what that means, is right there, to have the relationship status automatically change. Be able to copy paste shared facts between people. Now, it's important to note that it's shared facts. You can copy individual facts like this residence fact. You can copy and then click paste, and it'll go to all the immediate the parents, spouses, children. You can copy it to. With a shared fact such as marriage, divorce, you can't you can't copy and paste them. And personally, I don't know why you would want to, because it's strictly between a couple. And I mean, unless it's a group marriage, where 2, 3, 4 couples got married at the same time, same place. It's, well, I don't know. People requested it, so there that is. Let's see here. Oh, a visual warning pop up when an unknown spouse has been created. Because an unknown spouse occurs when you got a shared event that only one person's attached to. And a common thing could be, like detaching a child, say, from the wrong parent. Like, let's just say I found out, oh, Susan isn't Charles's son or daughter, it's actually Moses. Let's just say I found out, okay. So some people, and this is maybe a little counterintuitive, when you go to detach the person, say, well, okay, I just want to detach the father. Well, you have to detach the mother too, because you have to detach them in pairs. So if I just detach the father, well, now Mary's got an unknown spouse. Because Mary's got an unknown spouse, some person with, So that's what that would give a warning, say, hey, you're about to create an unknown spouse. So that's what that would be. Be able to mass edit on description fields similar to places. That's kind of along the ways of being able to batch edit in table format. Because like when they're talking in places, if I want to change all of this, oh, actually it's not there. But if I want to change this, I can also no, where is that? Well, you can actually group add stuff into the description fact. Or maybe that is here. Shortcut location. Well, there is a way of adding stuff straight to the description of all fact place types. I'm just blanking on that at the moment. I'm basically be able to do that with any fact type. So be able to add members when pasting facts, because well, back here, you know, with the census image, actually, I guess it wasn't there. Here we go. Copy that. See, if I paste it, it will only show the existing family members. Let's just say if this new, say this one said, oh, okay, there's another child. I can't add, you know, Mary or something, or, you know, whoever is the next child. That's what that suggestion is about. And then this last one, keep the results of find individual active after go to. What that is now you can go up to person, or no, edit, find an individual, and you got a little bit more leeway than like doing a filter. Because like say on birth, you can search for, you know, text time like about. So, okay, here's everyone with the birth fact with about in the birth date. You can't do this with a filter. Okay, so it's like, okay, there's Leona Sederberg. I can go to her and maybe I want to say, okay, maybe I want to try to find out when she was actually born. But now once you're done and you want to go into the next person, well, guess what? You got to go to edit, find individual, select birth again. You know, basically it doesn't remember it. So you have to keep redoing this. So it'd be a way of being able to come back to that. So now in facts, be able to make custom facts stand out more in the fact list. You know, so when you manage facts, you know, really just by looking at it, you can't tell which ones are the built-in or which one is a custom. I mean, I can tell, okay, this one is a custom. And basically it will say custom down here at the bottom, and here this delete button will show up. Or see family search ID, you can't delete it. And it says it's predefined. So, and I think the whole thing is like, when doing it, they want to try to stick with the predefined fact types rather than using a custom one. Have proven, disproven, disputed fact options. So it'd be like, if there's a fact, okay, this say hasn't been proven yet, or disprove, you know, you basically mark individually each fact, whether it's proven or not. And to me, it says, well, if you've got a source, it proves it. Of course, you can have facts that contradict it too. I just do that in the fact notes, but ability to auto source a specific citation when you add a specific fact. That would probably be more so for a custom fact that, you know, maybe say reunion, or well, whatever, you do a custom fact, it would come up with a predefined citation for you. Allow a parent, child, or any non-spouse shared fact. To me, this is what citations are for, but right now, any shared fact is strictly between couples. So it's only between two people. If you do use a shared fact for anything relationship-wise, they're going to think they're a couple. So they probably want it for stuff like baptisms for the godparents or witnesses. Could be on weddings for not just that, but for the witnesses. And that's the carryover from some people that came over from some other genealogy programs, because some did allow you to do it. I mean, to me, that's what citations are for, but obviously it's been in the suggestion list for a while. More options for fact display, such as only place and description. This primarily deals with how they are here on this right side. Sorry, I got to move the people here. So see here, I've got like a residence, DNA, find a grave. Well, let's just say find a grave. Well, here, let me do the DNA one. DNA markers. Let's just say I can set this, and then now all of a sudden we got 3 fields here. Well, because maybe I really only want date and description. I don't want a place field. You don't have that option. You got date and place, description only, or date, place. You know, basically give individual, if I want, maybe I want just place and description, or date and description, or, you know, just give you more options, because then it's because you're because if you don't want them all, or you know, you may want just a date, you know, it all takes up lines here even if you don't use them. So that's what that's for. Be able to enter more than 255 characters in description field, and I believe you can. I believe it's actually 2000, but if you sync with Ancestry will chop it at 255. So that's more of a thing with syncing, but and actually, if I say if you need more than that, go to notes. They don't sync, but notes I did check recently. In notes, you can have over a million characters, which is larger than most books. So there's virtually no limit to in notes, and that's person notes, fact notes, media notes. Anyway, be able to word wrap the description field, because that is, you know, because if you type in, you know, stuff, you know, you can type in a lot of stuff, but, you know, it won't word wrap. So it's kind of tough to see the whole thing of what you typed in here. You would actually almost have to copy and paste it into like Notepad or something if you'd want to see everything all at once. Be able to remove, hide built-in facts that you don't want to see, and that would be, you know, on here it's like, you know, it's you know, it's like I've never used excommunication, you know, stuff like that, you know, and circumcision, you know, bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, you know, I've never used them. I mean, I may someday. I mean, I don't know. Somewhere I'm probably related to some Jewish people, but it'd just be a way of hiding that. You could still do them, but you know, when you add facts, it's like, okay, it'd be a way of shortening the list. So be able to copy a fact to a list of people. This would be if you'd have a list, say maybe reunion attendees. And like I said, you can copy a fact But when you paste it, it can only go to immediate family members. So maybe if you've already got a filter, you could say, okay, well, here, attach it to this filter. Have Boolean multiple choice custom facts. Because right now, any fact, like I said, basically is a description. The only multiple choice fact is the sex, where it's male, female, unknown. Basically, be able to create your own multiple choice for fact types, or even just a yes, no, for, what, well, whatever. You could have a thing if, they attended a reunion or not, yes, no, or so. Be able to designate which facts are displayed under personal or individual facts. Because right now, if you go click on the person tab, the personal and individual, there is no control over what it does, like name, the sex, any titles, stuff like that. But if you do a custom fact or anything, they'd all go under the individual or the shared. You can't, some people I know would want to put occupation up under personal information. It's basically just allow you to specify which facts are displayed in which section between personal and individual. Yeah, be able to color code based on confidence level of fact. Yeah, so color coding the actual facts for us, like, okay, well, how certain are you of these certain facts? I suppose it would probably be kind of tied to the source rating system. We could have like green as solid, red as, okay, highly susceptible, or, yellow for, maybe it's just someone's personal knowledge, but they're not positive. More keywords options for the fact sentence structure. When you go into a fact and click on properties, you've got some fact keywords you can use. Basically just allow you to more control over to how the sentence works. And like anything with how this works, you need to be consistent at how you enter stuff. For if you change the death fact sentence structure, well, you want all the how you enter stuff in the death fact entered the same for everyone, but from tree view, be able to quickly add an alternative fact and count of alternative facts. And so here's one. Okay, here, yeah, see, for residence facts, any fact here will only show the preferred fact. I can't add any. I could overwrite this. I could change this. So, okay, I know in 1950 she was living here, or when the 1950 census comes out. But then it would overwrite this one. Right now, you'd have to go into here and say, okay, I've got 2 censuses for her. Well, this is all from the 1940, but it'd be nice for it to say, okay, yes, there are 2 residence facts, and actually be able to view them and to add one from here without having to go to the person tab. Mental entry, make the most addition the preferred fact. So yeah, so here, see here, I can add a fact, say, okay, I know in 1950 she was living in Minneapolis. Okay, well, see, the preferred fact did not change. See, in the tree, it still says that one. And they basically want, okay, this is the last one you entered, so automatically make that the preferred one. So that's what that suggestion means. Add an explanation field for fact types as the purpose of that fact. That would be up over to here as to like this find a grave. Have it do that. Right now, I'd just do it as a task. I figured out how to customize facts, but have to do it person by person. That if you customize a fact, it does that for every person. I mean, and you know, if you customize this fact, that's going to affect it for every single usage of that fact type. And so the data is valid. When I always include the source of the data is validated when I print the family line, but needed to add source myself. I'm not sure what the question is there. Spanish for, okay, yeah, yes, the Spanish, yeah, with the things, yeah, we're only going over what's on that group, on that voting list to explain it. We're not going over anything new. I know there is a suggestion on file for handling the Spanish double surnames and stuff. No one brought it up last year, so it's not on the voting list, but it is on the main list. So, have fast fields work for all fact types? Yeah, I'd have to look. Certain fact types, the fast fields don't work the best on. Be able to tag people in description so you can jump to that person. So that would be like if you have a baptism fact. In the description, you could say, okay, here are the witnesses, and you could click on them and it jumped to that person. So yeah, be able to, okay, so now on filters, be able to filter by calculated or hidden fields in Family Tree Maker. That would be, you know, if you'd want to filter in, you know, where people say where the relationship is, say, second cousin. You know, I mean, it displays it, but it's not an actual field you can do it. Or say if you want to filter in, okay, I want to see everyone that's over 100 years of age. You know, well, you'd have to take the death fact and subtract the birth date, you know, so it'd be a calculated field. So, be able to filter people that have private items. Yeah, that's something you can't currently filter on. People that have private media, you can filter on people that have got notes, facts, media, but not specifically private ones. So, action queries, I actually have to look that one back up. Because that is more, yeah, that was Gary. Yeah, because that was an all-in list. Oh yeah, yeah. Basically, if you got a filter, basically, yeah, you want to be able to do something like, okay, delete everyone in the list, or delete a specified fact in the list, you know, stuff like that. You know, do something with the list of people. So that's what that's about. Have option when you have two or more of the same fact types attached to a person. So yeah, if you want to see people that have got two or more residence facts or census facts or maybe marriage facts, stuff like that. Be able to filter in just X number of generations. You can do that with ancestors, but if you do descendants, it's like all the descendants. they'd want to be able to say, okay, just show me 2 or 3 generations of the descendants, or 4, however. And then likewise, option to leave out spouse and filters reports. You can, like I said, you can filter out, if you filter in the descendants of a person, see here, I'll just create a filter here, creating all their descendants. Well, here, Moses Hayes, her husband's there. Just likewise that Charles W. Nichols, her 2 husbands are there. And likewise, any of the spouses of any of the children will be in there too. So it's not just their descendants, it's the descendants on all their spouses. And basically, sometimes that's good, but they just want an option if you want just the descendants. So this one is for the Family Tree Connect app. That's like on your phone or tablet with the Tree Vault. You can look up and see the places that are, for a person, and you can bring up all their facts. You can't just bring up, okay, show me all the places that use a certain cemetery or how many people are in Minneapolis. This one has different versions of the software, basically of a basic and advanced version. Likewise, 2 pricing issues. Have purchase add-on icons, go to the toolbar without having to go through tools. Because like right now, there's 2 plugins. There's Turing Companion and Family Book Creator. Right now, you have to go to plugins, export, then go to Turing Companion or Family Book Creator. Then they're saying, well, it'd just be nice to have icons up here, so you can just click on it. Okay, go to Turing Companion, go to Family Book Creator. Have ability to auto sort marriages. Because yeah, children can be set to automatically sort. There's even a tool in that, but for spouses, no, you have to do it by set spouse order. And it's basically however they were entered. It will not automatically sort. So you have to manually sort them. And then that can also get more difficult, especially from a programming standpoint of view, when it comes down to, well, what if they're married to this person? Okay, but then, okay, maybe they had an affair with this person, had a child, and then they married someone else. So it's like, okay, but still, more stats in the tree, more specifically longest lived person. On the plan tab, you do have certain stats when you click on the more, and basically they just like more information, like who is the oldest living person in your tree. They've got like earliest birth and the most recent birth date. How many facts, places, sources. This is just my test tree, so it's just like more info. And this can kind of go back to that one where filters, being able to filter by calculated fields. This is basically SQL access to the database, because Family Tree Maker is a database, and SQL are just, have basically more, you can do a lot more sophisticated queries. And for doing a lot more elaborate filters and stuff like that. Ability to cancel out of things that are taking too long, especially in the publish section. Sometimes if you do like an extended tree and you got a fair number of people in your tree, you can, it says you can hit cancel, but it still takes a while to actually cancel out of it. Be able to increase the font size more than just large fonts. Right now, you'd have to use a system tool to do that. The large fonts help some, but like Mac doesn't have it. If you've got like a 4K display or ultra high definition, the use large fonts doesn't work for that. So right now you'd either have to use a zoom feature or in the operating system, a magnifying glass, or reduce the screen resolution to make everything bigger. Provide a ways for users to develop their own family tree maker source family genealogy website. Some websites take the genealogy information and basically it want a way to create the HTML files, so it can do that. Some programs like Roots Magic will do that, and others will do it. So that's what that. I have a correspondence log, so just a record of who you write to and responses. Portable version of Family Tree Maker that can run on a USB drive. So like if you take it to a library or over to a friend's house, you could show them stuff without them needing Family Tree Maker. Be able to mark people as not duplicates so they don't reappear on the duplicate person check. So if you use to find duplicates, you can save the list, and when it come back, you can reload it where you left off. But if you'd ever have it regenerate, well, all those people will come back. When using web links, don't have the HTTP in there, right there. I don't know. So it's, I just highlight it and then paste the address, but they don't want to have to do that. So, okay, for hints, find a grave integration similar to Family Search, so you can match people up to their memorial. And likewise with Family Search, on here, see, I can click on this, and then it will take right to their Family Search page, and basically have the same thing like find a grave. So it'd take them straight to their find a grave memorial. Import, export, ability to import from Roots Magic and others. Like it can import like older versions of Roots Magic and Legacy and basically just update it, because I know the new versions of Legacy and Roots Magic, it won't. You'd have to use the GEDCOM. So be able to exclude various notes when exporting a tree. I mean, you can export all notes, but not some notes. So and then basically this one is to be able to import items from another tree. So if you say, hey, I got this really nice filter, for finding people in the next census, I want to just import that filter or tasks. Certain things like report settings, because you got your settings and stuff. Media categories, custom sources, you could bring them all over. This one's just for Mac, that when you delete media, it will actually remove it from the tree. Mac doesn't do that for some reason. Back to media. Okay, find duplicate media to merge. I mean, some point in time, we've all got duplicate media, especially from Ancestry, because if there's a group photo, they'll show up on hints for everyone in that photo. And if you accept it on both of them, well, then you're going to have multiple copies of the photo. Be able to have subfolders on media, because any media, all goes into the main media directory. Some people like to have subfolders. Then here, ability to have subcategories. This is on media categories. And basically to, basically have subcategories from that. Census, you could break it down into the years, or maybe the country, say, okay, United States here, UK here, maybe Australia. Photos, you could have it broken down into, personal photos or household, like here, okay, here's where we used to live. It's not really any person, but houses we used to live in, have subcategories. Ability to search media files when attached to existing media. Now there's several that are on the same list. So it's like if we want to, oh, sorry, I'm on. So if we want to say link, we want to link to an existing media, you can't really, about the only thing you got for searching is you can type the first letter and that will take you to there. I mean, otherwise you can search by person, but then you can't search the name. You have to scroll down to do that. Same thing for source title, you know, stuff like that. You can do immediate family, which can help if that's where they are, but basically it's very limited search capability you've currently got. Okay, ability to have a pen or marker function on media, because that kind of goes into the darkroom. I think that would be the logical thing for, you know, because like say here on a census, if we open it up and say, okay, I want to go into the photo because say, you know, with all this say, okay, these right here are my people. So I want to say highlight these 3 lines. I mean, this isn't the one, but you know, whichever family member I want to highlight this block. So you can do that in other graphics programs, but you know, they just like a way to highlight it within here. So I found utilize metadata. That's like hidden text that's stored in the photo. You don't see it, but you know, it can say, okay, who took the photo? It could be where it is. You know, you can store all sorts of information. And then, like I said, they have it also sync with Ancestry, so they don't strip it out while that they have to work with Ancestry on. Specify directory for find all missing media. Because right now, if I don't have any missing media, oh, let me get to collection. I don't have any missing media in here, but if you did, you either have to do it one by one to say, okay, this media item is here. But if you have it search for them all, well, it just searches your whole hard drive. Well, maybe you took a directory and moved it over to this other location so you know where it's at. Well, if you got 100 items, you'd have to do it all individually, or, you know, just saying, okay, we'll start looking here first. So that's what that one is about. Don't allow problematic characters and media file names, and that can differ between Mac and Windows. So basically just, and this primarily deals with coming from outside sources like Ancestry, is don't allow them to be in the file name. Be able to use any photo editing software and let Ancestry recognize it. Well, this is like a perfect situation. See, I can open this up in my default program. I can make changes to it. Now, this isn't my normal one that I do it. Well, I can rotate it. And then I can save it, but, and it only applies if I want to sync this to Ancestry. It will change the page, it will redo it, but Family Tree Maker won't recognize it as a change, so it won't sync it back up to Ancestry. Right now, what you'd have to do is mark it private, sync it, that would remove it from Ancestry, unmark the private status, and then sync again, and then that would put the new photo back up there. So this would just be a way of changing that. And just so you know, like if you do go through Photo Darkroom and say, okay, I want to repair this and say done, this will recognize as a change that it has to send back up. So So if you edit it within Family Tree Maker, it will know that. I'll be able to paste an image in the paste buffer directly to Family Tree Maker. So if you save, if you copy an image and the image itself, not the link, so be able to paste it. Be able to sync the transcription area of Ancestry and include the description size. Like I said, well, Ancestry has to do that, but just to increase that. Be able to type more than one drive letter when searching for media. I told you it's like you can type the first letter and that's it. You know, if you know it's like more, it won't allow you. You can type the second letter, but then it'll just jump to that. So if I was looking for my dad, Don, I type D, it'll jump to the first D, but if I type D-O, it's going to drop to the first O, you know. It won't search for D-O, you know. Then on the find missing media, basically make those columns so you can adjust these paths, and so right now you can't. When searching for media by person, included find box. I kind of covered that. You can switch to person, but then you still have to scroll. Retain all metadata when using photo darkroom. If you do that, it does wipe out some of that metadata. That's that hidden text. Have date section for the media to be an actual date field. Because yeah, see, when you look at this, it says date, but you can actually type in whatever you want. And certain things like Family Book Creator will use that date field, but if it's a garbage date, it will just ignore it. So that's basically saying only allow dates in there, you know, so. Have basic formatting for media description. So it's like you could change fonts, italics, stuff like that. Now, a tool to find media in a tree's media directory that isn't referenced in Family Tree Maker, because you can have media that you've deleted that's even like unlinked, that it can still be sitting in your media directory, even though Family Tree Maker basically doesn't know there, or if you've accidentally copied something in there. Anything in the media directory will still be getting backed up, so it'll still take up space. So it's just a way of finding that. Yeah, when unlinking media, make the default option to move it to the recycle bin or trash. Because like I said, if you go here and want to unlink, you know, I can unlink it, and I can unlink it, but it'll still keep the file there. And basically is let that be, if that's the only person, or if everyone is being in there, make this the default. So it will actually remove it from the media directory. And likewise, when linking to existing, have it remember the dialog box size, because you can adjust it once, but then you change it again. You come back to it later, and you'll be back to the defaults. So now we're down to name index. Allow customizable name index. Because on here you've got certain things. Okay, you can do how it's sorted, and then you can do the color coding, lifespan. You can have birth date, marriage, death date. You can say hints. I want to see the family search ID too. But like I said, if you want, say, the color on the left-hand side, you can't do it. Maybe you don't want the occupation in here. You can't do it. So they basically want to give more flexibility as to what you can all display in the name index. have the name index show women of every surname they've had. So it's, well, here with this Mary, you can turn on use the married surnames. Well, that's only going to take her preferred spouse's name. So Nichols, well, she also had Hayes. If I now let me go here, set spouse order. If I say mark the Hayes as the preferred spouse, now she's listed under Hayes. And depending upon how you do it, it's like, I know my uncle, got remarried when he was 70 and his wife was 70. Well, if my uncle was her preferred spouse, he's going to show up under the Waller thing, but for most of her life, she was another surname. So anyone kind of looking for her would maybe want the other surname. Basically, they'd want her listed 3 ways: under the Hemingway, the Hayes, and the Nichols. So that's what that suggestion's for. Be able to show the name index on the person tab. That's another one. So basically, this name index can also be shown here. You can pull up this and go to them that way. But this doesn't have, it's got, birth, marriage date. You can't say if you're looking for people that have got hints or family search IDs, well, this information's not there. So they're just like this. And and if you're, say, only looking at a filter, bring up this will not stick with the filter. So you got a lot more flexibility with the name index. Be able to do a wildcard search name in the index. Well, I've got some basically be able to type in I've got some FOSS that go FASS. I've also got some in my main tree that go FOSS. So maybe if I could do F?SS, it would show up both of them. Or, if you're looking for someone and it's like, well, you're not exactly sure, so you're searching for fill names. So maybe, maybe GIL star. So it starts with GIL and goes with there, And then let's see, wild names. Okay. If the birth or death isn't exact, like before or after, between, when using the lifespan, it just shows the years. It doesn't say if it's, about, or say it's before 1903, after, it doesn't really show. It just shows those dates. So it'd be a way. So if I know, okay, he actually died before 1936, well, it doesn't change anything here. So have standardized surname field for family lines for the surname. Yeah, basically it's a way for, if you've got the surnames that have changed spellings over the years. I've got the FASS, I've got FAS, FOSS, FOS, so it's like basically come up with a common surname field so that they're all grouped together. I'll have a split entry box, surname, first melt when searching for names. So basically you can search specifically for a first name or just a surname. So like if you have I know someone whose name was William Williams. Well, if you're searching for William, well, if you got a surname of Williams, they'll show up in the list. Or you just want to search for William, or or vice versa, for notes, ability to copy and paste text is plain text. Right now, if you copy, it'll copy the formatting too. And so I just have the option, so it's just plain text, so no formatting. Be able to tag individuals and notes, that's kind of along the lines of the description with the like the godparents and stuff. So you could click on the name and take you right to that. And relationship notes for parent-child. Right now, any relationship notes, they're strictly between couples, and that's here's the relationship notes. There is no relationship notes. They have a relationship, but there are no relationship notes for like the children, you know. So people name gender database, so that if you type in a child's name, say Sally, you'll automatically select, oh, it's a female, or if John, it'll say male. And certain names can be kind of questionable. Like I know a friend named Leslie, you know, so it's and then there's some names that, you know, aren't so obvious, you know. Okay, when merging duplicate people, have option to merge duplicate family members. So like if you've like merged trees and you find like two people identical, you may also find out that the wife is duplicated and the children, so a way of merging them at the same time too. When you do the duplicate person, to merge two duplicate people, you would basically want the whole thing on the person tab to show up side by side, like that. Well, this one's not a good example, but let me go back here. Yeah, so you can see all the various stacks. So to determine if they are truly the same person or not. So oh, and then be able to click on the relationship to bring up the relationship chart. So here, if I could just, well, paternal grand, this wouldn't be much, but like you could click on the relationship and it would just bring up the relationship chart. So let's see, places, be able to attach media notes, alternative names to places, frequently asked for item. Because right now it's like on a place, you could enter, you know, a description for the event, but it'd just be for this, even though there may be multiple people that use this place. Right now, but the only way you could do it is create a citation for a place, and then you can attach notes and stuff, but then you have to go find every person that uses that place, in fact, and attach it to them. They just basically like to be able to go to this place. Get off. Go here, well here, like here, a cemetery, you know, and basically, okay, I want to be able to attach a picture to this cemetery, you know, and maybe notes about it, you know, and certain things, places have changed names, location, well, not so much like locations, but names. Like I've got relatives or ancestors that came Christiana, Norway. Well, Christiana, Norway no longer exists. It's now called Oslo, you know. So you can handle those name changes. So also use known as Oslo or Christiana. Ability to do multiple places when resolving places. So when you resolve the place names, be able to select, you know, you might have Chicago, Illinois, Chicago, Cook, Illinois, Chicago, Cook County, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, United States. You know, you could select all of them. They're all the same spot, you know, and get it into a uniformed, because right now you'd have to do each one kind of individually. Have ability to permanently add, delete places in the place name database, so that they can auto resolve. Because there are some omissions, there's even some typos. So time relevant place names maps, that's kind of like along that Cristiano Oslo. So maybe you could enter a Cristiano and Christiana, in the dates, but then, they know it's the same place. So later on, 100 years later, they're referencing Oslo. It's like, oh yeah, this is the same place, just different name. Have option to have the automatically add county, parish or not. Right now, I mean, if you've got the word county in there, it'll add it, but it won't add it automatically. Be able to resolve all places from just a group, so like, okay, I want to just work on one country or one state at a time. Be able to generate a list or a report of unresolved place names, so you can maybe research them. When working with places, have a list stay where it is. If you've ever realized, and like I said, I don't have a lot of places, but see if I resolve this place, if I click it up there, well, it jumps clear down here to the USA as to where it is. And then you got to scroll all the way back up here to go to the next one. So you got to kind of remember where you left off, because you may not be able to resolve all the places. Like I said, I only got 64 places, but if I go to my main tree where I've got 6,000 places or 7,000, it's a lot more tedious. So, let's see here. Stay where it is. Okay, I have a more complete, accurate place name database, because yeah, there are omissions and stuff. It kind of goes sort of with being able to permanently add places in there. Those two are kind of related, because if you had a really 100% accurate one, there'd be no need to add. Be able to create our own rules for automatically creating short names. A short name for a place is, like this Hartford, Connecticut, Hartford County. Well, maybe you'd want it to say Hartford County and then CT for Connecticut, because see I misspelled that, but because the short names don't sync with Ancestry. So if you'd ever like re-download your tree from Ancestry, you'd have to redo those short names if you do them. And likewise in the reports, you can tell family tree to use those short place names rather than the long names. Prioritize the most likely, keeping to the same country than state. Because yeah, sometimes when you try to find a place, sometimes they can be in different countries. I don't know, what's this one do? Like New Haven. Well, this one is, yeah, sticking to Wisconsin, but here there's things for Ohio, West Virginia, because sometimes it alphabetizes the list. And I mean, here they got New Haven, Belize. Is like, okay, well, let's see. Oh, tool to auto resolve obvious place names spelled exactly the same. If you let's just take a thing here, and I'll say if you've got a thing, okay, this Humboldt, Iowa. Like say, if I take a, and this is like a perfectly resolved name here, it's even got the GPS coordinates. If I take a GEDCOM of this and then import it, every single place will not be resolved. None of them will be, even this one. Or if you just type it in this way, it will automatically resolve. Any GEDCOM, no place name is resolved. So give regular option reports for place usage. Yeah, place for usage reports, you don't have all the same options that you do on regular reports. And then this one allow options for multiple pins on maps to show. So it's like here, you know, we got Indiana here, and like link to this is spots to say that just use Indiana. Link to all is ones that got additional things. So here we got Elkhart, Hendricks. It'd be nice, okay, have pin marks for all four of these all in here. So, and it doesn't. So, okay, now publish. This is probably one of the bigger ones. I'll probably just glance over some of these. Okay, have an option or charge no to determine unconfirmed on sources relationships. Ability to click on an individual and go to the person from the publish page. Actually, you can do that. Well, you can do it on some, not all. So I think that's what that one is. Spreadsheet showing number of ancestors for a report to show the number of ancestors. I mean, you can manually do it using, you can manually do it for filters, but yeah, just have a report saying, okay, they had X number of children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Have the data errors reports, be able to specify people that they've got multiple parents. Have color coding on reports. Be able to print web links and reports. You can add web links. There's no way to add them to a report. Allow batch reports like the family group sheets. I mean, you can only do it one at a time. Timeline report, one at a time. They'd want to say, okay, give me a family group sheet for all ancestors, for all descendants. Same thing, timeline. Option on use of frames when exporting to RTF, because if you've ever done that, it's a pain because those frames, and it started with the 2014.1 update. Media files, just option, yeah, print the relationship, that's kind of obvious. Reports show everyone's profile picture, print media attached to facts. So that'd be like a narrative. So it's like if there's a picture attached to a fact, it would display that too. Have an option to not auto-generate charts, because when you go into the charts and reports, it immediately starts generating them. Well, then after you select any option, it goes and wants to regenerate right away. And just have it, okay, don't try to generate right away. Let me set the options and then generate. Be able to print media usage by group, that's by media category. An option to find the unknown spouse on data errors report. Options to not print anyone living. You can privatize the file and it will list them as private or living, but they'll still print. I mean, they won't have any details, but yeah, the URL's hyperlink enabled in reports and ancestry. That's kind of a crossover with that one. That's something ancestry would have to allow, which I don't think they ever will. But keep web addresses clickable in reports. That's along the same lines as that. Keep the URLs hyperlink enabled. On place reports have options to sort by reverse order, country, city, state. If you use Family Book Creator, that will do that. What that does is it keeps, okay, all the locations in like one state or one county together. You know, so if you have like, you know, Esteline, Hamlin County, South Dakota, but then you also have, you know, Castlewood, Hamlin County, you know, Castlewood's going to be clear up in the C's, Esteline down by the E's. And if you got like Watertown, Hamlin County, that's going to be clear down the W's. So even though these places are close together, they're going to be spread out far apart on the place, on a place usage report. So and by reverse sorting them, it kind of keeps them all together. On the family view report, be able to have it list all spouses. By default, it's just a family group, you know, so it's like one couple and their children, but to be able to, basically this would be more like for doing blended families. Category create a relationship chart with multiple people. You can in Charting Companion using their prune feature, but not in Family Tree Maker. Can do it between two people, but like if you got a third cousin, a second cousin, and two first cousins, it's like to see how they're all related. You know, you can't easily do that. Enhance relationship to include generations before and after. Be able to print blank family group sheets. Option print the name fact without the suffix. You can't do that. Charge reports have option to show children attached to the preferred parents only. Actually, I think that does. I might have to, I'll have to read up on that one. What is that? That's a new one, even. Oh, yeah, because on an extended family chart, yeah, it can show yeah, it can show multiple people then, because if for instance, you know, my oldest brother, well, he's a half brother and he is adopted by my dad, so he's attached to his biological and his adopted dad. Well, if we run a report from our mom, it's going to show him with her first husband and my brother. And then with my dad, well, my brother will be duplicated. So just have it, you know, take just the preferred person. And then it'll show with just that parent. So that's what that one's about. Okay. He'll use tabs for the outline descendants reports, so fact types line up in columns. Oh, okay. If you've ever looked at an outline descendants report, you know, it just goes into the next column. So basically it'll line up all the birth death columns, you know, so when looking down. Be able to add all media to an individual report, because right now I think you can only, you'd have to use a smart story to do that. So otherwise I think it'll only use the profile photo. Oh, for the marriage or parentage report, only show people with absence of data. So basically if they don't have a marriage fact, or I don't know where absence of data for a parentage report would be, but there's other ways of finding people that don't have parents listed, but be able to use a filter list for an extended family chart, you know, base a chart from a filter. We've all got sometimes, or some people, they don't want an X on the chart or something like that. And yeah, be able to print the relationship to the home person on a custom report. Can't do that, only the kinship report. Be able to add a person's photo to a custom report. Report for countries of origin for selected person. That's kind of more control over sentence structure. That's just kind of like that one up before, you know, where to have more control over it. So that's actually a duplicate. That one shouldn't have been added. Be able to only print specific facts and notes that meet a criteria. That's along with filters, you know, so reports have options to list death and age. Yeah, you basically say, okay, this person, when they died, they were so long. And specifically for young people, you know, if they died at 1, well, they might have been 15 months old, 18 months old, stuff like that. Report name templates. That one is I think when it saves the reports, you can have it like specify save with the name. I think that's what that one was. So that's why it's like you can always go to here if you're not fully sure, and every once in a while I'll get some. And oh yeah, because here you want the family group sheets, but it saves with family group sheet, and you'd want like a template, so how the reports are named based on name. Yeah, be able to add profile photos to the calendar report. Obtain descendant chart changes after a title change. Yeah, because you can move people, you can move the boxes around, but then if you change the title, it's going to regenerate everything. So search, have a universal search feature. It's just one search and it will search everything. Ability to designate the person in primary, secondary in a document. That's along the lines of sources. To me, that's kind of evident, but ability to find people with no first name or surname, that's kind of goes with the searching. But yeah, there's currently no way of kind of searching for a null thing, like no first name, no surname. And sources and citations, be able to privatize comments on citations. If you have the citation, it's gonna, you know, basically the citation is a citation. You can't keep any of it private. And I mean, I'd say if you want it private, put it in the notes, but ability to merge citation details into the citation text field on web merges. Yeah, because that I'd have to read up on exactly how that one works, but select manage sources default to the selected source, because if you go to sources, and like I said, I don't have much, but let's just say, okay, I want to change something to that. You go to edit manage sources, well, it starts at the top of the list. And like I said, this one doesn't have that many, but if you did have a lot, you know, you'd always have to, okay, now which one was it? Scroll down here. Color coding and styling for sources. So you could say, okay, I want to just color code all my census sources, you know. Be able to select preferred media when there are 2 or more media attached to a citation, and all that really is for is for the if you got multiple items, like a probate will have multiples, and or sometimes the census might have 2 images. And all it is what displays on the thumbnail. Citation builder based on evidence explained. I mean, citations are kind of built on that already, but there's not a direct correlate, or it's not a 100% implementation. Support for layered citations. I mean, yeah, you really have to get into the layered sources for that. Auto combine identical citations for the same person. So if you've attached multiple, say 2 census images for the same person, you can merge them, because maybe you might merge on some, and then maybe one, the children or the spouse or parent, you merge the same one and merge it to them, so you could get multiple 2 identical citations to the same person. And have text and short support formatting. Be able to access home person and bookmarks when in sources people view. So that's like when here and on the person view, be able to jump to, like, basically have your bookmarks and the home person, kind of like how you do on here, your index and bookmarks, and or who the home person is, to jump to them. Be able to jump from the person tab source to where it is in the sources tab. Yeah, basically it's just a way to jumping back and forth between the people. So, because it's linked to a fact, you have to go here, and then, I mean, you can't, go there. You kind of have to back out to go to the next, and so. Be able to create your own custom templates. You can to a degree, but I don't know. I just use the free form ones, and it's, but anyway, some people get really picky about how they want it. So now on sync, ability to sync individuals between multiple trees. Now this doesn't necessarily deal with ancestry. This would be, say, if you've got a tree, say 2 trees, and say the same people or family are in it. And say if you change one person, okay, now I want this tree to be updated. So basically link individuals between 2 trees. And so that if you change one, it can change them in that other tree. And then along the lines of being able to link trees together to create a bigger virtual tree. I kind of consider this my cousin's tree. So I've got like a second cousin, she's maintaining a tree, and I've got like another third cousin, and they're on another branch maintaining theirs. And it'd be neat, like at a point, it's like, okay, if they do this and they make changes, I could bring in all those changes from that tree, and at least review them first, and then to merge them in. And then likewise, they could do the same thing to my tree. Be able to privatize an individual. You can privatize individual facts, but like, especially with ancestry, you can't privatize an individual to remove them just from the ancestry tree. You can do that with family book creator. You can say, you can use a custom fact and say this, so it's like family book creator will just pretend that person doesn't even exist. Ability to auto save the sync logs, because whenever you sync, it gives you the option of viewing the sync log, and you can save it. Just have an option to auto save it. Ability to know which media are stuck in processing. If you're ever on here and on the plan tab and it says to media not processing. Right now, you'd have to go to live chat, and they'd tell you, okay, send us this file, and then they can tell you which media are causing the issue. And for me, it's been always either there's been a captioning that's just super long that the computer can't download it, or it's a citation that Ancestry thinks there's a media item, but it doesn't have the media item. So, but yet it keeps trying to download this non-existent media item. So, and then there can be others too. Those are just the two I've had for my case. Ability to sync web links. That's something that Ancestry has to allow. Ability to resolve places to remain after sync, because like I said here, see, I can resolve this Tiffany cemetery. Yeah, I can change that for all the facts. But see, now if I on Ancestry would ever change something, like say, okay, I know this person was buried in Tiffany cemetery. You know, but maybe let's say I find, okay, on like find a grave now, if I go to it, and even if I don't change the burial information, but just add the citation to it, when I sync, this Tiffany cemetery will become unresolved again. So I have to resync it. So I'd have to re-resolve it. Ability to perform a one-way sync, so you can have changes just go either from Family Tree Maker up to Ancestry or vice versa. For me, it kind of defeats the purpose of sync, because that's what it means. You can, you know, I'll say if you want to do that, just break the link and either just re-download the tree from Ancestry or re-upload your tree to Ancestry. But then uploading the tree to Ancestry has some drawbacks, because if you've got like 2-3 dozen people invited to it, well, you're gonna have to re-invite those people. So this one is kind of more of a bug thing. Like if the sync ever fails, it basically, I don't even know if this one will be relevant in the future, because they are making additional sync changes. That one, yeah, really is more of a bug. So be able to sync my tree tags, that's an Ancestry feature to it. Have the pre-sync summary on the sync log. So it's actually I think that's the post-sync summary on the sync log as to what changed. Have a warning when so many changes have been made to remind to sync. So it's like, I mean, I cringe when I hear some people say they only sync every 3 or 4 months. And this would be, you know, I have a thing. So it's like, say, if you've made 100 changes, like maybe just have a warning pop up, say, hey, maybe you should sync. So. And then have, well, yeah, Ancestry's DNA match, sync with Ancestry. I mean, if you've done any Ancestry DNA, you know, you can match with the people on your tree. So tasks now, be able to assign a task to more than one person. You know, you might have a certain things, and yeah, I mean, you got to do it individually. An automated task list, that would be, well, these two are kind of the same. So when you add someone, it's going to automatically add tasks, okay, like verify birth, verify death, verify marriage, you know. Whenever you add someone, it's just going to automatically add these tasks for you to do. And then if you add a URL to a task, you know, make sure it's clickable. And then have a note section on tasks for more extended descriptions as to why, you can maybe say if you're referencing, say, check birth things, you might have notes on a specific task. It's like, okay, I've already checked here, 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 so in tree view, allow a floating branch search for person you aren't sure where they are in your tree. I don't know, to me that's kind of obvious, if they don't have any parents and showing unrelated, well, it's a floating branch. But add a source citation for the sex fact, because see, you're like any of these things here, you can like click on the source and okay, I can add a source for the birth. You can add the source to the name, any fact here, aka, you can do that. The sex fact, you can't. You have to go to the person tab, click on that, and then from here you can add the source. So be able to see and differentiate between adopted step and bio children on the family group sheet. So, so you can, I've got the blended view on here, so I can see which parents are with them. But, if you got someone adopted, you could somehow flag that they're adopted, or a stepchild. If you got a report and say they are a stepchild, but if you want them in the report, you got to attach them to the step parent. So just have a way of denoting it. Right now I do that with a note. Family book creator, you can set if the relationship is step adopted, and that will show it, but not in Family Tree Maker. Option to display a fact description instead of the lifespan, because here, you see the lifespan, they'd want to be able to say add the occupation factor or some other fact, maybe birth location or something like that. And right now you can't. So have a unique triangle color for children with a spouse but no children, because like here, let's see here. No, here's someone that's got a spouse or has got children, but we could do, I don't know, Jeff and Sally, and let's just say add a spouse to Sally, Fred. There's no difference here between Jeff and Sally here. They both, though Jeff, no spouse, Sally has a spouse. There's no there's no difference here. So and have an icon for people that have tasks, and that would be, for either on here, like the ancestry and hints are, or in the lifespan. The task would show up here if there is one, but nowhere else. So and be able to slide the divider lines bound on the children. Yeah, see, on the Mac version, you can specify, you can slide these columns, kind of like how you can slide columns up here. You can't do that down here. The only way to make it bigger is to, slide this stuff over. And even that just tends to make the birth and death more. But if you got like some long names for children, you won't necessarily always see them all. So turn back time, that's oh, I love that feature. You can say turn back time here, or like roll back these changes. you can print out this list, but there's no way of like, you can print it out, and you can export as like PDF or RTF, but not as a CSV file. So web merge now. Yeah, when you merge something, you'll always say, okay, done. So you have to click OK before you go on to something else, just to have it do away with that. Have an option to always default to never download a source citation, because right now when you do, here, let me just go. You can search, you can, let's see here, oh yeah, find someone I can't find the, well, there is an option to not download it, the citation. Yeah, here's something. Go to merge down here, up here to not download it, but that's just for that one case. You'd always have to go and click it. So be able to pre-edit records for family members. Let's see, that's not a good example. Yeah, here this one is. See here, we can like pre-edit this stuff, for say the marriage. Well, yeah, this maybe isn't the best example, but like for the spouse, if there's any information for the spouse, we can merge, but we can't pre-edit anything. So, and I mean, obviously this isn't the right person, but you can't edit any of that information. So, so you'd have to merge it and then change it after the fact. Ability to specify media caption during web merge. You can specify the name, but not the caption. Allow web merge to operate the same as with Ancestry for family search and other custom sites without using Web Clipper. Well, the web merge is geared for Ancestry, and then anything else you kind of have to use Web Clipper. There are other ways around it, but essentially you're winding up using that. I mean, so make it easier to clear the CEF cache. If you've ever something with the internal browser, sometimes if it starts messing up, or say if you're always having to log in, usually something in the CEF cache, the Chromium embedded framework, that's what the CEF stands for. Something gets mucked up in there, so you clear the cache. Some people seem to have to do it a lot. I mean, I've probably done it twice in 3 years. But and there is a support group, there is a support FAQ on MacKiev's website that shows you how to do it. It's not too difficult, but they just like it, basically have a button, clear the cache. And make it easier to merge with an existing alternate fact. Because if you merge a thing, it will compare it to the preferred fact, and then you've either got an option to replace it, which you really shouldn't do. But you may not know if you've got like that 1920 census already attached to them. But if you do, well, then you're going to have a duplicate, and then you'd have to merge it. So basically, if you got already the alternative fact, you can merge it directly to that. Greater control to change and add additional fact types pre-merge. That would be like, especially like here with the census, some people like absolutely detest the residence fact. They want the census fact. So they'd want to, let's go back here to a census. Yeah, so they'd basically want to say, make that a census fact. And sometimes they've got even more information, you know, what their occupation was, what their wage was, what their, you know, basically to even add additional facts to be merged in rather than merging it and then changing it after the fact. Strip need file names that don't end a space or dash space. That's kind of self-obvious. And yeah, when you do a web merge, if it's got a sex fact, you really don't have the option to do anything about that. It's going to merge with it. So, and then to basically determine, you know, basically, this kind of all depends on the sources, but basically you want to recognize the country. So whether the record says United States of America, USA, United, you know, it'll bring it over in the format that you want it. So in a nutshell, yeah, that's like 233 items on this list. So that kind of explains all of them. Are there any questions about any of those? I was doing this in the hopes, you know, to get more people to actually vote, because surprisingly a low number of people do actually vote. And when you do vote, or if you've already voted, you should have gotten an email with it. And at the top of that email is a thing to edit the response, so you can change your votes if you want, especially after going through over this. But I know I've gotten like numerous comments about people saying, it's like, well, I don't even understand what that one is. And like I said, it can be tough to do to fully explain what they want by that with the one-liner, because we've only got so much space. And I mean, you don't want each suggestion to be a paragraph to have to read. So. But well, if there's no questions, I will end this, and then this recording will probably be up available later. I'll probably post it tomorrow. So anyway, well, thanks for coming, and be sure to vote. So we'll talk to you later. Bye.